light in the world because I was having a lot of technology issues. That's why it's so fucking bright in here. Do I want this on or off? No, definitely I want that on. I think. That might be too bright. Is that too bright? Okay, but anyway, I'm having technology issues. Like, you know how normally I have my blue light on and like it's the vibes in here? Yeah, so sorry I'm late. You know how I have the blue light on and it's the vibes in here? Well, let me show you. Maybe it won't happen because I have all these fucking lights on. But when I turn the lights on, you can't tell because I have all the lights on. It was like strobing. It was so weird. It's never happened before. It wasn't happening with my webcam, but it was happening with my stream cam. So maybe I need a new camera. I don't really know. But we're here now. We are here now, aren't we? Welcome, welcome. Let me post on Instagram that we're here. How do I do a link? Why can't I find it? Hello? Did they take away my rights to links? No, okay. Howdy. Oh, I wanted to put my hat on. Oh my god, I hate when my thing does this. I copy something on my computer and it does it on my phone, and like, no one told you to do that. You know what I mean? Like, literally no one asked you to do that. Thoughts on Bigfoot. Okay, so my thoughts on pretty much anything is that, like, we can't say for sure. Also, can you, like, see me and hear me okay and all that stuff? Like, my whole thoughts is, like, we can't say for sure. So, like, do I think Bigfoot is real? I haven't seen Bigfoot. I don't know. But, like, I haven't seen everything on the entire earth. So we can never know for sure. Like, humans think that we're so fucking smart and we know everything, and we really don't. Like, we don't. So, yeah. I can see and hear just fine. Okay, welcome everyone. I posted on Instagram now that we're here. So now that you have my full and undivided attention, let's talk about this. I'm very excited for this stream. I'm very excited. I'm very happy to be here. I think this is going to be a good one. Oh, I wanted my hat. George Bush is from Texas. What would y'all do if I hopped on here and was like, I love George Bush. I think he was one of the best presidents we've ever had. Like, what would you do if, in all seriousness, I said that to you? I've never seen a raccoon, so who am I to say Bigfoot isn't real? Like, real. I'd assume you're being sarcastic. I'd exit out of here quick. I'd leave, honestly. I would call him I would never. I would literally never. This is an anti-George Bush account. Anti-George Bush now. Anti-George Bush forever. 5 ever. Cancel you. Slay. Cancel me, honestly. If you want to be on the Nearpod, I'll put it in the chat. Actually, it's not interactive till the end, so it's kind of unnecessary. Actually, maybe you want it. I'll put it in. Who am I to say what you want? You know, there you go. You can have it. And there's the link. Kerchoo! It's the ball's in your court now. Okay, I gotta work while I watch. Don't become a tax accountant. I don't even think if I wanted to become a tax accountant, that's an attainable goal. Does anyone know about the Call a Crackhead? I've gotten tagged in that a bunch of times, and like, I'm just saying, one of those groups I trust more than the other. Like, one of those groups, you know, I'm not gonna get into it further than that. I do like the George Bush dodging a shoe meme. Aw, damn it, I forgot to put that picture in here. I meant to. I'd rather call a crackhead. Yeah, you said it, not me. But, like, yeah. Yeah. I heard back from a job that I applied today. Can we manifest I get an interview? Yes. You heard back, though, so what did they say? They, like, talked to you and it wasn't for an interview? Is my camera, like, normal? Does my camera seem normal to you? You know what I mean? Okay, so let's talk about George Bush. It was just so weird before. Like, I logged on to here, and it was literally, like, strobing out, and it was just deeply concerning, and it was not a vibe. That was Clinton. George Bush was an incredible era of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. So, I watched... My new favorite thing to do is that I pick a stream topic on Sunday. I make like the basic of the slides, like an outline, more than an outline. Like I get like the slides like 70% done. And then on Monday, I watch a documentary about it. And then I always learn so much more because these producers obviously have like a whole fucking crew and can put in way more research than I can. So then I make more slides based on what they talked about in the movie. And then I always think of better memes when I'm watching the movie. I think because like I'm engaged in it and I'm not like already making something, like they just come to me faster. So then I like write down all the memes I'm going to make and then I add those into the slides. And like that's why I feel like the last 2 streams have been like, because that's how I've done it. So I'm going to try and keep doing it that way. But I digress. Ooh, this might be a little too cut off. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's fine. Okay, so I don't have a joke. I just really like this picture. Let me rearrange my screen a little bit as well. Okay, there we go. And yeah, I do have to edit this. It is getting cut off. Lame. Make this bigger. It's really difficult to do this on a laptop. There we go. That's it. We're good. We are good. We see each other. Okay. We can bring that guy down a hair. Perfect. He's in the splash zone. He's... Queen Elizabeth looks bad here. Queen Elizabeth does look bad. Remember when Bush was the worst we thought we could do? Yeah, that's why I like this topic, because like it's really bad and I like talking about really bad shit, but in a way it's also like kind of comical because like it's so much worse now, so we can like laugh about it. You know what I mean? This is gonna be a laugh riot. Me trying to not talk about 9/11, so we can't talk about this. Like I know there's literally infinite jokes we could make. Like I know there's infinite jokes we could make, but that's just, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna be professionals, you know? We're not gonna make jokes about 9/11. We're not going to talk about it today. No one's going to make jokes about it because that would be terrible. And we would never do that. Are we going to talk about his paintings? Damn it, I meant to include that too. We'll look them up at the end. Remind me. I was going to ask if this stream would include 9/11. No, this stream does not include 9/11. That's just like, that's a whole can of worms that we're just not going to get into right now. Like, that's an important can of worms, but it's just not the one we're going to get into right now. And we just, like, I can't coherently explain my feelings on 9/11, so we're just not going to talk about 9/11. Whoa, y'all don't want to hear about 9/11. And I don't right now. That's not what we're talking about right now. I feel like 9/11 would be a 2-part stream, and we're not prepared for that yet. Yeah, it's just, like... The milk and corn was as close as a 2-part stream as I could muster up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not a planner like that. Like, I'm really just not. It's always either 9/11 or the Vietnam War. Thinking about how 9/11 dominoes affected into Ellen's downfall. So, okay, actually, that is something I would be willing to do that feels, like, non-disrespectful to me. Because, like, that's just such a sensitive topic. Like, I can't make memes about that. I feel like later that would come back to bite me. Like, I'm sure y'all can see that. I'm sure y'all can. Like, what if I want to run for Congress one day? The GOP is going to be like, this is your girl? You know, like, and I can't let that happen. Those are things that I have to think about sometimes. And they hold you back. They really do. Your clear camera is so clear today. So... I have a very different lighting situation. Do we like this camera better? I miss the blue light. It's like, I literally feel like I'm on an operating table right now. It's so bright in here. Oh, I got distracted. So what I was saying is what feels like non-disrespectful and like could be a vibe is talking about how like all the domino effects of 9/11. Like, it led to the book Twilight. Like, it led to a bunch of different stuff. Where is you and Fraz's podcast posted? Everywhere. It's on Apple Podcast and Spotify and on YouTube. Is like the top ones, but it's really everywhere. Fox News tried to slander Joey B using a phone call where he said he loves his son but doesn't know how to help him. The GOP will find something to hate you for. Yeah, I know, but I feel like this would be really easy. Like, I don't want to make it easy for them. You know what I mean? The 9/11 to 50 Shades of Grey pipeline. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to add that to our list. Domino effect, that's what it's called. Okay, so My Chemical Romance, exactly, there's so many. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into talking about this. It would be cool if you could figure out the lighting, but keep you as you are right now, but the background dimmer. Maybe I have the ring light on a lot more intense than usual. Maybe I can put something over that light. Like I can put a shade on that thing or something. I'm going to turn off the blue light. Okay, my computer is breathing so loud. It's also dying. Like, y'all, I was going to be on time today. Literally, I already ate dinner. I put my laundry in. I cleaned up. I took a shower. Like, I took the trash. I did everything I needed to do to get my shit together to be on time to here. And I sat down at my desk at 7:24, and I was like, perfect. I'll have time to write up my little description, arrange my screen perfect, and then go live right at 7:30. And then I opened my computer, and it's on 3%. And I was like, awesome. So then I shut it for like 2 minutes, then I was like, what are you even doing? Just fucking do it. And then I opened it and like plugged all my shit in, and then it was like 7:31, and then I was like trying to get my shit together, and then my camera starts like literally, it was like strobe lights. Like it was like when an old school TV fucks up and it's like the gray lines is kind of what it was, and they were like blinking, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do it. And I tried unplugging it, plugging it back in. I pulled it up in a different app and it still didn't work there. I tried quitting and reopening. I tried like cleaning it. Like I tried everything. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just turn all the lights on. Maybe it's the blue light that's making this hard for the camera. Even though apparently it used to fucking try flicker reduction. Bush was trying to sabotage. Stop. Okay, so let's get into this though. Time is an abstract concept created by the calendar's bestie. That's 100% true, and you're right, but you will pry my Google Calendar out of my cold, dead hands. Like, if it's not on Google Calendar, I don't know about it. Like, just assume if you did not send me a Google Calendar invite, I have no idea it's happening. Not a clue. We can talk about it every day. If it's not in Google Calendar, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I'm really good about putting things in Google Calendar. Like, I'm the one that's like, yep, sent you an invite. Thanks. It's for me. It's not for you. You don't have to accept it. I don't care. But it needs to be in fucking Google Calendar. Stream is in Google Calendar. Podcast is in Google Calendar. My chores are in Google Calendar. Everything for work is in Google Calendar. Also, I put my to-do list in Google Calendar and put the task at the times that I'm going to do them. Obviously, things can change. Things change a lot. I'm rescheduling. I'm changing. I'm shifting constantly. That's why it has to be in Google Calendar, because otherwise I will have no idea what's going on. And so I don't have a to-do list. I have them in my Google Calendar, and it yells at me if I don't do it. It's the teacher in you. So that's what everyone at my work says. They're like, oh my God, you're such a teacher. What a little psycho. But it's not, because I wasn't that way as a teacher. Like, I wasn't super, super crazy hyper organized like that. Like, I was organized, and I did like abide by Google Classroom, and I kept a calendar, but like it wasn't down to the minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like every single moment is planned out the way I am now. And I realized it's because, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I work a corporate job, so pretty much everything I have to do is on my computer, so it doesn't feel real to me because it's like on my computer, so I forget about it really easily. So like, I'll have marketing deliverables, like literal materials that I have to make, like postcards, social media assets, stuff like that, and I just don't even think about it because I'm like, it's not a physical item, so my brain just like doesn't register it. So I have to have it like in a way where I see it and it's tied to a time. Because like with teaching, like the kids are coming in the door. They're coming right now. And like the supplies, I see them right here. You know what I mean? Like the papers are right here. So it was like kind of easier to keep track. Also, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like with teaching, it was a lot of people to keep track of, but there weren't that many things to keep track of. Like I had to keep track of my email, which didn't get crazy. Remind, and then like grading and lesson planning. Like there weren't that many categories. And in my job now, basically my job is like, I communicate between all the departments. So like if someone needs something, they go to me and I will go to all the departments and fix it and figure out what's wrong. So like, because I have to communicate with so many people and like every department does things differently. They all use different systems. I'm literally just talking about my job right now. Sorry. They all use different systems, and like they all use different like chats, and they all have different like methodologies about how to go about things. Like I can't remember all of it because it's just like I have a million things in a ton of different baskets, and I probably send like 200 or 300 emails every day. That's not true. Not 200 or 300. 200 or 300 a day, probably including all my messages and all my texts and all my phone calls. Like all that added up. My ADHD can't handle this pro tip. I can't read e-text. I have to have a physical copy. So e-text is really hard for me, so I use the Bionic Reader at work. The thing that's hard for me is long text. Thankfully, most of my job, I don't have to read more than more than a couple sentences. People will be like, this doesn't work. I need this. Like, I don't have to read pages and pages and pages. But if I ever do have to read something that's longer, like if I'm like reading a manual or like learning how to do something, or like we had an event and there was like a 10-page document about the event, I use the Bionic Reader. It's really cool. It makes like certain letters bold and bigger. So if you read really fast and you tend to skip things, it forces you to slow down a little bit, which is very helpful to me because I'm a very fast reader, but my comprehension is really, really bad. That's why I always joke that I'm illiterate, because like if it's more than 3 sentences, I'm like come on. This is, okay, teacher T right now. I had to learn the U.S. history curriculum to be able to teach it. Obviously, like, I knew U.S. history, but they had, like, specific people and inventions, and, like, I had to learn the curriculum and, like, specific battles. Like, I didn't know everything, but I didn't have, like, general knowledge. But anyway, I would teach myself on YouTube. Like, history.com carried me my first year teaching. I learned so much. And the Khan Academy videos and Crash Course, and then there was this other place. I really liked their videos, too. Britannica, those are articles, but yeah. Remember the project I had? Well, now it's 3 days late. Nothing is done yet, and I was too lazy to remember when I do it. Don't do it for anything. Oh my God, you're stressing me out. It would be full circle if history just hired you then, right? Gen Z teachers learning alongside their students. My first year, my motto is I was like, you only got to be one day ahead of the kids. Like, this is your first year. You got to learn this curriculum. You got to teach this curriculum. And then, like, I was just on that. I was like, I'm one day ahead. I'm learning one day ahead of them. And that was like my motto for like the first 3 months. And then I kind of got my shit together a little more and would like be a unit ahead of them in learning. Like, not in planning, but like I'd learn the whole unit and then I could plan it out. You know, made me a better teacher. Khan Academy got me my bachelor's degree. We did a Civil War reenactment in APUSH class. Also picked cotton in that class. That could get weird really quickly. Delicate territory there. Okay. But anyway, let's talk about George Bush now that we've already been here for 17 minutes. So we're going to be talking about the election of 2000. We're not just going to be talking about George Bush. He won, but we're talking about the whole election. So the United States presidential election of 2000, I'm really tongue twisted today. I'm sorry. It was George Bush versus Al Gore. Al Gore was the Democrat. Al Gore got the popular vote, and Bush had the electoral college, so Bush won. Spoiler alert. That's what we'll get to at the end. My history teacher made us demonstrate loose pack versus tight pack. So did my history teacher in 10th grade, and I remember being, that's weird. That, like, you could have just shown a picture, like a document. Like, they literally have documents explaining it back then, so why would you not just use the document? Because they're also doing document analysis, so there's really no reason to have children reenact it, in my opinion, when you could just use the document because it's there. Like, it's like a diagram. Like, it's a visual. You can use it. It exists. It's for free on the internet. You can just get it, put it on the projector. It's free if you have a projector. If you don't, tell the kids to Google it. Put it on their phones. I'm thinking of unlimited solutions here. I'm just so solutions-oriented. Okay. Anyway. So Albert or Arnold Gore Jr. is an American politician, businessman, and environmentalist. He's an environmentalist zaddy. After he lost the presidency, then he made that movie An Inconvenient Truth. I remember it came in like a cardboard paper sleeve thing, and I was like, why the fuck is it not in the plastic like movie container? And my mom was like, because Al Gore is an environmentalist and he didn't want to waste plastic for his movie, so that's why it's in cardboard. Thanks. Didn't Al Gore invent the internet? I don't know. Let me look it up. Do you think Al Gore winning the 2000 election would have changed the path of America? Absolutely, I do. Oh, he was kind of fine, right? Like, he's not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not against it. Did Al Gore invent? I feel like the answer is no. It was probably a woman. Who invented the internet? Yeah, it wasn't him, but he was like involved in early internet shit. He was the first white man to do sustainability, environment king. Thank you. I like my hat too. Okay, so this is him. That's what he looks like. Gore was Bill Clinton's vice president. So like during the campaign, he was vice president. And remember, the people fucked with Bill Clinton. Even after everything that happened with Monica Lewinsky, the people fucked hard with Bill Clinton. But anyway, he was the clear favorite to win the Democratic nomination because it's like, bitch, you're literally the vice president. They're not going to not pick you. Like, so that's not surprising. He captured it easily. He only faced off with one person who was from New Jersey, and no one really gave a fuck about him. So the most excitement in the primaries came from the Republican side because it's like generally the side that's already in power doesn't have as much competition in the primaries because they like pick someone, you know, but in the party that's like trying to get it, there's usually more competition, just generally speaking. Obviously that's not true in every election, but most of the excitement came from the Republican side. Bush faced a stiff challenge from John McCain, and then a bunch of other shit was going on, but who really cares? Bush ultimately prevailed, and he won the nomination. As someone who's shit at history, I love your streams. I'm so glad you're here. So it's Bush versus Gore, and like, why are they looking at each other like that? Also, I'm really cold right now. Like, why are... Do y'all see what I'm seeing? Like, please tell me it's not just me. Please tell me it's not just me that's like noticing this. Like, this is weird. Like, that's not like normal, right? Like, that's really weird. That's weird. This picture's very weird. Kiss, kiss, kiss. I think I'm going to use this picture as the thumbnail. I think it's the one. I'm going to just screenshot it right now. Low quality as a motherfucker. I have a great story about meeting Bush. Enemies to lovers. Their faces are so close. Right? Like, why are they shaking hands with their entire body? Like, you shake hands like that. Like, yeah. Like, why are they so close? Like, why are they so, like, all up on each other like that? Literally, like, he's, like, all up on him. Both of them. Like, they definitely touched him. I can only imagine Mr. Redacted doing a presidential NBC debate where all in public acting out. I could never do a presidential debate. I'd be like, that was rude. Don't ask me that. Don't talk to me that way. So this is the campaign vibes. Although the campaign was mostly focused on domestic issues, like the projected budget surplus. Look, when Democrats were in power, there was a budget surplus. Interesting. Proposed reforms of Social Security and Medicare, healthcare, plans for tax relief, and foreign policy were also an issue in this election. I just kind of wanted you guys to see like what people gave a fuck back then. Bush criticized the Clinton administration's policies in Somalia, where 18 Americans died in 1993 trying to make peace among warring factions. In the Balkans, where United States peacekeeping troops performed a variety of function. I don't think our troops ought to be used for what's called nation building, Bush said in a second presidential debate. Okay, I don't know the context of that, but like that as a statement, I do agree with. Broken clock is right twice a day, you know what I'm saying? Like... It's not a terrible statement. I don't know what it was coupled with. Bush also pledged to bridge partisan gaps, claiming the atmosphere in Washington stood in the way of progress on necessary reforms. If we knew then what we know now, you know what I'm saying? In 2008 or in 2000, we were like, we've never been more divided. America is so divided today. Like, imagine if, like, in the year 2000, someone was like, hey, I want to show you this. Look at this. And it was January 6th. Also, look at my phone wallpaper. It's this, it's like a nebula thing, like the Rosetta something. Rosette? I don't know what it's called. Oh, look at my camera. But it looks like a skull. Do you see, like, that's the back of the skull, and that's the eyes, and that's, like, the nose, and then there's, like, where the jaw would be. The call's coming from inside the house, Georgie. Like, he's not wrong. Hold on. I think Bush is more a military cuckold. They right once a day. Okay, so Gore, meanwhile, questions Bush's fitness for the job, pointing to gaffes Bush made in interviews and speeches and suggesting he lacked necessary experience to be president. Bush is like wild. Let me see. Oh, damn it. I'm gonna skip through some stuff because I want to show you something. Anyway, let me focus. I'm very ADHD tonight, so sorry about that. Bush made in interviews and speeches suggesting he lacked experience. Despite the continued economic growth that Gore could attribute to his economic stewardship with Clinton, early in the general election campaign, it appeared that Bush might easily defeat Gore, who appeared wooden and dismissive of Bush in campaign debates, who was criticized repeatedly by the Bush campaigns as an exaggerator. In late October, however, the gap in the polls narrowed dramatically. So it was a pretty close election, but I really want to show you all of these pictures of George Bush because they make me laugh, and I meant to put them earlier in the stream, so we're just going to look at them right now. Because when they're saying like, oh, the gaffes he made in interviews, some of these are from the campaign and some of these are from later, like while he was president and stuff, but I just think they're very funny, and I feel like some people probably don't know that much about how like wild George Bush is. Like, so I just wanted everyone to know that before we get started. Why does Bush look like he skipped a step in evolution? So let's look at George Bush and just kind of how weird he is. So here's him flicking off the camera. There's multiple clips of him giving the middle finger. Here's him on the phone. It's upside down. I don't know the context behind this. Sit on this one, terrorist. I think I've seen this film before. I also have some quotes from him. He said, "I'm the commander, see? I don't need to explain. I don't need to explain why I say things. That's the interesting thing about being president." He's just here. Like, he's just talking and he's just here. How many is a Brazilian? Here's him with this crying baby. Here's a whole bunch of Bush quotes. As yesterday's positive report card shows, children do learn when standards are high and results are measured. I hear there's rumors on the internet that we're going to have a draft. He was president when this happened. Imagine the president saying, I hear rumors on the internet there's going to be a draft. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm here to make an announcement that this Thursday, ticket counters and airplanes will fly out of Ronald Reagan Airport. What are you talking about? You teach a child to read, he or her will be able to pass a literacy test. If only it was that simple. If only it was that simple. You misunderestimated me. Families is where our nation finds hope. Where wings take a dream. This was on the campaign trail. That's hilarious. I kind of want to get this tattooed on my body just because it's so funny. That'll be my first tattoo. I know how hard it is for you to put food on your family. Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning? This is my favorite quote of any president ever. It's my number one. That's it. It'll never get better than rarely is the question asked, is our children learning? Here's him giving the middle finger again with this dog. I don't know if that's his dog. Corn. Y'all know my thoughts. Y'all know my thoughts on the corn situation. And then this video of him dancing is just wild. He's like dancing with this group of like, I think they're like all from different countries doing like different types of music, as I think what's happening here. And the way he's dancing with them, like the faces he makes are literally insane. Where wings take dreams. Like, he's the Michael Scott of the presidents. Like, he is the president that's giving Michael Scott energy. Absolutely. I hate to give him credit for anything positive, but our children learning is perfect. Hold up, that corn was raw. Wait, I'm new. Can you explain the corn, please? So I did a stream, if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube, about how basically like the US is obsessed with corn and they spend all this fucking money on corn. Like literally billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. It's like actually insane. And most of it, we don't even eat it. It goes to like fuel or corn syrup or animal feed and shit like that. Okay, so where were we? Campaign, more like campaign. There we go. Go away. Thank you. Okay, so moving on. Election night vibes. On the election night, no clear winner emerged. Print and broadcast media cited often contradictory exit polling numbers. If you don't know what an exit poll is, it's basically, ZK Butterworth, thanks for resubscribing. Oh, also, Miss Cart12, thank you for resubscribing. Thank you for the follow from Sarah is Tits, Jada MC, Mel Rihanna, INU Pendix, I don't know what that is. Taco Bell Chug, thank you for subscribing. A. Burton, thank you for subscribing. We appreciate. Okay, so back to election night. There was really contradictory exit polling. Exit polling, if you don't know, is basically when you leave to vote, people standing outside will be like, who did you vote for? And then they will report those numbers to try and predict who won because they think they are going to count it faster than the government is. But exit polling is wrong a lot, and a lot of people are like, fuck off. So it's not that accurate. Okay, anyway, so ultimately the contest focused on Florida. Networks initially, I can't talk today. What's wrong with me? Networks initially projected that Gore was the winner of Florida, but then later declared that Bush had opened an insurmountable lead, and Gore called Bush that night to concede the election. So Gore called Bush and was like, hey, King, looks like your lead is so high, I could never beat you. So just wanted to say congrats, bestie. So on election night, it was kind of like, oh, damn, Bush won the presidency because Florida pushed him over that 270 number to win. And so Florida's the main stage. Florida's the it girl, very much so, her huge. Hearing the people pronounce the I in Florida is so jarring to me. Florida. Okay, so George Bush goes to sleep. Actually, I don't think he went to sleep. He was probably partying or doing coke or whatever. But anyway, George Bush, after Al Gore conceded, going to sleep knowing he made his family proud. Also, side note, don't really think that George Bush wanted to be president. I think his family was like, you're going to be president. Jeb Bush could never make his family proud. Never changed Florida. Okay, so George Bush is like, I won, period. And Al Gore, basically the way this works is the loser calls the winner and is like, you won, and then the loser goes on stage and is like, I concede the election, and then the winner goes on stage and is like, I'm gonna be president of the fucking United States of America, bitches! And that's how it's supposed to go. So George Bush gets the call from Al Gore, and then George Bush is like, have fun on stage, have fun, bestie, it's happening. But that's not really how it went down, because when they called Florida, they said, oh, Bush won most of the state. There's only 2 counties left, so let's call it. But the 2 counties that had not been counted were Palm Beach and Broward. Those are 2 much more Democratic leaning and, more importantly, huge populations compared to most areas of Florida. So the fact that they called it before these 2 major counties had even been tabulated at all is that's not how you do shit in an election. That's really not how you do shit. Al Gore calling, being congrats, I guess. What an awkward phone call to make. So most of the time, they know the call is coming because everyone's following it so closely. They find out at the exact same time, and then it's just the way it's supposed to go is the loser is supposed to concede, and then the winner claims victory. But people haven't really been doing that recently. It's not really something that it seems like we're really into anymore in that era. But things start to change. In the early hours of the morning, it became apparent that the Florida race was much closer than Gore's staff originally believed, because they hadn't counted the 2 fucking biggest counties. So fewer than 600 votes separated the candidates, so the margin appeared to be narrowing. If you're only 600 votes behind, do not concede. Do not concede until they do a recount. So about 3 a.m., Gore called Bush and was like, hey, never mind. And how it actually went down is everyone was waiting for Al Gore to come out on stage, and he was with his staff backstage, and they were like, you didn't lose, so I don't know what the fuck you're about to go out there and say, because you also didn't win. So, and then Al Gore is like, I literally already called him. Like, how the fuck do you call back after that? That's a text to me. We gonna handle that one over emoji. You know what I mean? Gore like, JK, LMAO, actually. So he has to call him and give him that news, which, like, that seems literally so awkward to give. And imagine Bush on the other line. He's like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? Al Gore calling back like, psych, bitch, I ain't dead yet. Oh my god. I was really proud of this meme. I felt like this was the perfect gif for this, like, situation. And I just need everyone to acknowledge it. Someone on Gore's team got fired over this. I hope so. There's a whole display on this at the Florida Capitol Museum. I'm really mad I've never been there. Why have I never been there? I think it's because when I was in college in Tallahassee, I was like, I'm not going to live in this state and I don't care. Probably. It's the attitude that I had. Didn't care about much because I had crippling depression. I would call that motherfucker back, no problem. I wouldn't have wanted to make the first call. Gore being like, OMG, no, one of my friends took my phone and texted you. OMG, stop. My intern texted you. That's so embarrassing. My God. Al Gore is probably still trying to tell us the inconvenient truth about climate change. Sorry, my friend texted me. It's about Ron DeSantis. He's coming. She got a text that Ron DeSantis is coming. I'm sorry, an intern called pretending to be me. They wanted to be a voice actor, so they're really good at it. God forbid we just wait till all the votes are counted for, right? I think it should be illegal. I think it literally should be illegal for, like, coverage that uses the word winner to occur until every single vote is counted. I think projected winner, that's not enough. You should not be allowed to say winner. They can report on it. They can say this person's in the lead. This person's in the lead by this much. You cannot use the word winner until the election has been certified. Stop it, Ron DeSantis is coming. Star 86, your concession call. Although I do find it funny that as soon as poll close in NY or Cali, it immediately turns blue because we just know. Al Gore should have called Ashton Kutcher for an episode of Punk'd. Al Gore, like, hold on a minute. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh. Okay, so Bush, according to the New York Times, said, you mean to tell me, Mr. Why does my forehead hurt? You mean to tell me, Mr. President, you're retracting your concession. That was followed by Gore's response. You don't have to be snippy about it. Release the tapes. I want to hear this phone call. And then he said, let me explain something. Your younger brother is not the ultimate authority on this. And Gore was referring to the fact that the governor of Florida was Jeb Bush, Bush's younger brother. Further fueling the fire, Katherine Harris, Florida's Secretary of State, charged with overseeing the election, was a Republican who served as the co-chair for the Florida's Bush for President election committee. So I think it should be fucking illegal that the Secretary of State controls the election. The Secretary of State was the co-chair of the Florida's Bush for President election committee. How is that not illegal? Literally, how is that not illegal? You don't have to be snippy about it. But how is it not illegal that this woman was on this committee? This is giving the same vibes as when Brian Kemp was Secretary of State overseeing the election that he was running in. He was running for governor and he oversaw that election. And it was very much fraud and very much illegal. And a lot of crime happened in that election by Republicans. Fun fact. Well, not a fun fact. A very depressing fact. But the one good thing to come from that election is I got to meet Stacey Abrams twice. Also, one of her staffers was like, messaged me and was like, hey, we'd love for you to do TikTok live with Stacey for a fundraiser because, like, you grew up in Georgia and whatever. And I was like, fuck yeah, love my girl Stacey, would love to do it. And then they were, like, working out the details. And then I, like, kind of wasn't thinking about the fact that we were doing that. And then I was, like, talking shit about her on Twitter because she tweeted that cops should get paid more. And I was like, that's not a cute take. Like, I thought, what the fuck? And then they stopped messaging me about it and answering. So, Honestly, though, they're good at their jobs, like, as they should for that campaign. Stacey wasn't on your Google Calendar. Exactly. Like, honestly, her campaign managers, like, they should have blocked me for that. I didn't fit their brand, I guess. Anyway, I digress. You did what you had to do. Did you know Katherine Harris was the last elected Secretary of State in Florida? Wait, how do we pick it now? Now that you mention it, I don't remember voting for that. Quarter life crisis. How do we pick it now? Come pick me up. I'm scared. Okay, but let's continue. Jeb and George Bush deciding the fate of the country via the state of Florida. Gov appointee. That seems worse to me, I think. I don't love that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, you appointed me. I owe you. I owe you on your re-election, je feel. So imagine being a newscaster this night. Imagine being on the news. It's appointed by the governor now. Yeah, that's scary. I don't love that. We don't need another Bush in the White House is still so iconic. Okay, so anyway, imagine being a newscaster. The clips of the newscasters are really funny because after Florida flipped for like the third time, they were like, it's fine. We're not doing anything. We can be here all night. Like, perfect. Of course it did. Great. And, like, there's so many clips of them, like, talking and getting interrupted on their earpiece and being like, sorry, I'm just being told Florida is actually now a toss-up again and we don't know. Like, there's so many clips of the poor fucking newscasters. Like, they're not the ones pulling the information. They have no control over that. They're just reading and reporting on what is being given to them by the show's producers, and that just seems so horrifying to be in that situation. Was Stephanopoulos on election coverage this time? I don't know. The newscasters, somebody sedate me. Florida, is it me? Am I the drama? Yeah, you are. You are drama, girl. After a wild election night on November 7th, the results were simply too close to call. So after they had been saying, yeah, he won Florida, he didn't win Florida, at the end of the night, they said, we don't know. We don't know. We don't fucking know. It came down to Florida. We didn't know Florida. Florida was going to be the deciding factor in this election. Imagine being the Bush campaign, because you know some of those low-level campaign people probably like, oh, we won, and then went to sleep. Like, imagine waking up the next day and being like, you know what would have been made this better? Ranked choice. It would have. TikTok sounds. Can you just kill me? Just kill me. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you guys, I came up with this idea. If any of you has a connection to make this happen, I would love that. So you know those, my head itches. You know those DJ boards where it's like a grid and they press the little squares and every square is like a different noise? So I want someone to make me like a DJ board, like the grid, and then every square is a different TikTok sound, but somehow I can, like, while I'm scrolling, I can hit like add to DJ board. Like, I can just like copy the link and put it somewhere in some fashion. Like, I can figure that out, you know? And then when I press it, it makes like the different TikTok audios that we are currently listening to. Like, it can't be like I set it up and it's stuck that way, because then we're going to be using like lame old audios, and who wants to be doing that? The Staples easy button. Yeah, like that. But I could do like different TikTok noises. Like, can I just be shot? Like, you know, like short ones like that. Like, I wouldn't do like a fucking 60-second one. But yeah, that was my idea if anyone could make it happen. So, Florida state election law required mandatory Florida state election law required a mandatory statewide machine recount. So they're going to be counted with machines. By November 10th, the machine recount was complete, and Bush's lead stood 327 votes out of 6 million cast. So they recounted, and it was still going to Bush, as court challenges were issued over the legality of hand recounts in select counties. A hand recount is where you count it by hand. They get staff members, they all like split up, and they count it by hand. That, in my opinion, could be a lot more reliable because you're actually doing it. Not because machines aren't less reliable, but like it's easier to commit corruption with a machine than to coordinate an entire office of people. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's easier to commit fraud with machines, I think. So even though it's like there's human error compared to machine error, I think it's in a lot of ways more secure. And paper ballots. Paper ballots. I feel like election conspiracy theorists have never done a group project. Yeah, exactly. Like, conspiracies are usually pretty small numbers of people. Hashtag hanging Chad. Everyone on TikTok was like so blown that I didn't talk about the hanging Chads, but it's literally like 5 slides in here, and like, it's a short video. I couldn't talk about the whole thing. I chose to talk about the Brooks Brothers riot instead in the video. Okay, anyway. As court issues were challenged over the legality of hand recounts, news stories are filled with arcane vocabulary of the election judges. So, county officials tried to discern voter intent through a cloud of hanging Chads. I'm going to show you visuals of all this. Pregnant Chads, overvotes, and undervotes. So, overvotes are people that voted multiple times for the same office. So, like, an overvote is if there's 3 people running for president and I voted for 2 of them. An undervote is if I didn't vote for anybody for president. Voter intent, I cast for Gore, I want Gore. You'll see the problem and why it gets to voter intent. So let's say I didn't vote for anybody for president, but I voted for vice president and I voted for like every single other office. That's a little weird that I didn't vote for anybody for president. The issue is that the so-called butterfly ballot that was used in Palm Beach County was causing confusion among Gore voters, prompting them to accidentally either cast their vote for a third-party candidate or, like, vote for too many people or nobody. Like, it was just a very confusing ballot. He received 3,400 votes here, which is just, like, very disproportionate. Like, why he received so many votes here? It's because of the way it was designed. So here's how it was designed. Basically, this is how you pick, like, these are the people running for president. Actually, I'm going to go to the next one so you can see the problem here. Actually, no, this is a better picture. So these are the people running for president up here. You see like 1, 2, 3, like everyone's running for president. You select it by pressing in these little holes. So some people are thinking, oh, I'm voting for Al Gore. He's the second person. Let me press the second hole. But the second hole is not for Al Gore. The second hole is for Pat Buchanan. Do you see the problem here? That ballotism there. Exactly. So it's like, or some people pressed this one and this one because they didn't realize all these people were running for president. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's just very confusing. Like, I think the arrows help some, and I think, like, if I came across this, I think I would do it correctly, but it's voting. You need to make it, like, as easy as possible for people. Like, it shouldn't be any room for interpretation or confusing. I see the real conspiracy lies with who designed this. Something about this feels intentionally confusing. Yeah, so I don't love this. And then here's the problem with it. Although Democrats are listed second, they're the third hole on the ballot. This is where you punch for Democrats. And then the second hole cast a vote for the Reform Party. So, like, Pat Buchanan got a ton more votes than the Libertarian guy, Harry Brown. And, like, Harry Brown was a lot more popular than Pat Buchanan. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't check out. And it seemed like a lot of people voted for him on accident. So that's when they're saying voter intent. That's what they mean. It's not as egregious as Louisiana's literacy test, but it's deaf fucked. If I tell you how easy it is to vote overseas, you'd scream. No, I know, because I studied abroad in 2016. I studied abroad in 2016, and I had to vote abroad, and it was so fucking hard, and everyone that lived there was like, voting seems hard as fuck in the U.S. It's really fucking easy here. Like, after voting in the U.S. and now voting here, it's unreal. Where do you live and what is it like to vote? Okay, it's Guitar Santa. I have fight or flight. I worked in elections in Florida because our state fucked over voters. You got to vote abroad. It depends on where you live. Like, you could have dual citizenship somewhere and vote. I vote as a resident in New Zealand. Yeah, and, like, other countries let residents vote because they're like, you live here and it impacts you, so you should vote. Like, depending on what it is, like, with certain things. The U.S. would never. You know what I mean? Love Dr. Pepper. The Palm Beach election office. I was proud of this meme, too. I told you guys, this is going to be a good meme stream. Meme stream. Meme stream. Meme stream. I'm proud to be an American. Dr. Pepper's sponsorship won. I think residents can vote in some local elections. I think it depends on where you live. I don't know. Okay, so Florida did their people so dirty with this ballot because they know what their education system is like. Why would it get so confusing? Why is it so confusing? Doing my absentee ballot was a nightmare, but we got to do what we got to do to support, to be a democracy girly. So the thing that made it harder for me to vote is where I lived, the mail system was very unreliable, and I could not reliably receive mail. Like, it had to be through FedEx or UPS for me to get something. And the U.S. election system won't do that. So I was like, oh, you can send it to my family's house, and then they can UPS it to me. And they were like, that's fraud because we're sending it to an address you're not at. And so it was just, like, very much a problem. They knew what they were doing with that ballot design. Yeah, they really did. It was really not the vibes. Pat Buchanan in Palm Beach County. Oh, it got cut off. Damn it. But he won so many votes there compared to everywhere else. It's kind of comical. So all the Republicans were like, we need to honor the people that voted for Pat Buchanan. This is a democracy. Democrats are trying to steal his votes. Like, this is terrible. Like, they were like, this is our guy. Like, Democrats are trying to steal his votes. And then Pat Buchanan went on national TV and was like, yeah, I don't think those people wanted to vote for me. This is very weird. I think they tried to vote for Al Gore. So the Republicans tried to be like, protect Pat Buchanan's votes. He deserves the votes he got. And then Pat Buchanan was like, no. Oh my God, Miss Frazzled is here. Hi. How are you? I want to strangle a Republican congressman. Fraz in the chat. Fraz in the chat. Okay, so this is the, I meant to put this earlier, sorry. This is the, like, hanging chads, the fucking, all the problems. I saw you singing a song and I had to come. I'm proud to be an American. That's really embarrassing that that's the song I was singing. But okay. One, thank you for the follows. G-Easy, Crispy Bitch, appreciate. Okay, so a hanging chad is, like, basically where you didn't punch it all the way through. Because remember how when we were looking at the ballots, like, basically the way this works is you slide your piece of paper in here and then you use like a hole puncher to stab through these holes. So if you like fucked up and you didn't push it hard enough, or if the little trash can was full, like, you would stab it and there's like paper behind it so it's not going through, like your little hole puncher wouldn't go all the way through. So you could get a hanging chad, meaning like it didn't knock it all the way off, but it's clear to me, at least, that, like, you tried to push that through. And then, like, a swinging door chad is where, like, it's even more connected on there. Pregnant or a dimple chad is where there's an indentation, but there's no rip. Like, you poked it, but you didn't push it all the way through. So then they got into this debate where it's like, oh, a dimpled chad, maybe they changed their mind and didn't want to vote for that person. And some people are like, well, maybe you thought you pushed it through and you didn't actually push it through. Quarter Life Crisis, thank you for using that emote, because I think that that's one of my most slept on emotes. I want to make the background transparent, but, you know, the ballot makes no sense. I'm very grateful that I get to vote with a pen. Yeah, in Florida, now I vote, I like bubble in. Not every county used this, though. Not everywhere has the same ballots, and they don't look the same. So it wasn't everywhere that this happened. It was just in some counties. I just got an email asking me to do an interview for a job I really want. I have no idea what's going on in this lesson now. You're good. Oh my God, Miss Frazzled, thanks for subscribing. I feel like a celebrity's here. Oh my God, it's a lot of pressure. I feel like this is when... It's the same thing as, like, when you're teaching and you're teaching your kids and you're like, this is literally fine. Like, good vibes only. But then when, like, an administrator or another teacher walks in, you're like, hi. So today we're going to learn about. And you just become, like, inherently more awkward. This picture is fucking hilarious. Like, the fact that this is our democracy. Don't leave. No, it's fine. You can stay. You can stay. Don't leave. So the fact that our democracy is coming down to this, literally, I have never had less confidence in someone in my entire life. Please look at him. He does not look sure about anything. He doesn't look sure about what his name is. He doesn't look sure about literally a single thing. Okay, so Palm Beach Canvassing Board, Palm Beach canvassing board member Judge Charles Burton takes a close look at the questionable ballot with Republican attorney John Bolton and Democratic attorney Jerry McDonough at the Palm Beach County Emergency Operations Center. They're literally, like, panicked. Like, basically, it's almost Thanksgiving. They're like, fuck, we still don't know who the president is. Now the whole country is looking at us. This is so embarrassing. And to me, it's hilarious that the presidency is coming down to tiny little pieces of paper. Because where was our hero when we needed him the most? Where was he? Where was he? This is who we need. This is who we need. And he wasn't there for us. Not Clippy. Can someone please acknowledge the, me 8 years old when Al Gore lost? Are you shitting my dick? I want this on a t-shirt. If this wasn't someone else's art, I would make this into merch. Your God can't help you now. I was so proud of this meme because I literally just Googled, like, Microsoft paperclip guy, and this came up, and I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. This is going in there. I want a plush of Clippy. This is the fate of our democracy, ladies and gentlemen. This is it right here. This is it. It's all coming down to this. Imagine the rest of the country seeing this on TV. Can you imagine? That looks like he's reading Morse code. So then there starts to be a focus on Miami because Miami's ballots were super fucked up. So the weird thing is Miami doesn't have an elected secretary of elections. So normally that is someone that's an elected position. You win and you're in charge of elections, whatever. They instead have a 3-judge panel that functions as an election board, except only one of them was an actual judge. I don't understand how you can have a 3-judge panel, but you don't actually have to be a judge to be on it. I'm not going to get into much of the details of, like, how this came to be because we could just, like, sidetrack on that tangent for too long. But Miami-Dade County official canvassers, in order to meet the court-ordered deadline, because the court was like, remember how we said, the court said, you have to fucking recount this shit. It's super close. Like, you have to recount it. They decided to limit county's recount to only 10,000 ballots because they were like, instead of recounting every single ballot, let's just recount the fucked up ones. But to me, like, if the state ordered a recount, you can't just not do it. And, like, it's not a recount if you only count some of them. Like, I don't really understand the details of how this came to be. I tried to look it up, and it seemed like the people involved didn't understand. Like, they were just making it up as they went along. They didn't have, like, rules and procedures for this. So when you're looking at what happened, like, we're going to go through this, and you're going to be like, Miss Redacted, this is the most legally confusing lesson we've ever had. This makes no sense. It's because they were making it up as they went along. That's why everything contradicts each other and, like, makes no sense. Because there are no rules and there is no procedure. So they were just like, technically yes, but generally no. Oh, that's like a whole detail thing. I can't get into that right now. But anyway, they moved the counting process to a smaller room closer to ballot scanning equipment to speed up the process at a distance from the media, and Republican officials objected to this change. So the rest of the U.S. is finally starting to look into the details of Miami and Florida's election system, and it's basically just like a whole entire mess. So they're looking into it and they're like, okay, so that's the ballot. It looks like that. That's how you did it. And then the little punches, sometimes they just don't go all the way through. Because if basically this is the way it works, like, this is actually a perfect thing to demonstrate. So, let me show you. I'm like really going like teacher mode as fuck on you right now with these visuals. So, do you see this little empty guy? When I punch through my paper, the little chunk of paper, like, you know, when you use a hole punch, there's like a circle. The little chunk is going to fall into here. And so I punch it and the thing falls and it punches all the way through. If I try and punch and it's full of other little paper chunks, I can't punch all the way through because there's like paper behind it. So I think it's going through, and I think my little paper is falling down in there, but it's not actually falling down in there. It's not going through because there's too much stuff behind it, because in usually poor neighborhoods, they understaff the precincts, and so there's like not enough people to clear out the little fucking machines, is basically how that happened. Okay, so now we get to the Brooks Brothers riot. Remember where we left off? They're recounting a bunch of the ballots because they're fucked up and they don't know what they say, and so they're recounting them. And remember, they're doing it in kind of a small room, and they're doing it in an office. It's actually an office building in downtown Miami, if you're familiar with that area. The U.S. election system is the inventor of gaslight. No, for fucking real. But anyway, November 22nd, 2000. So keep in mind, it's been like a couple weeks since the election. Hundreds of people, including many Republican staffers, descended upon South Florida to protest the recounts. The demonstration was organized by these operatives, sometimes referred to as the Brooks Brothers Barrage. Barrage? I don't know how to say that. I don't know why they're rushing. They've got like 2 months to figure it out. So there's like a deadline in December that they have to like certify something by. But to me, like, if I was like dictator, I would be like, everyone's vote is deleted and we're holding a new election. Like, as soon as I saw that ballot, I would be like, well, one, if I was dictator, I would never allow a ballot to look like that. It would never get that far. I would be checking everyone's. I'm a democratically elected dictator, obviously. Brigade. There's too many vowels. Couldn't they just hold special runoff elections? CIA laser eyes activate. Brigade. That's what it is. My ballot would be a Google form. Yep, I'd use the spreadsheet feature. No, but I would literally, if I was in charge and I saw that ballot, I was like, we're having a new election. We're going to do it on December 7th. It's going to be exactly a month later. We're shutting everything down. School is closed. Like, we're doing another election. It's going to be expensive as fuck, but that's better than this embarrassment and, like, picking the wrong president. So, sorry, everyone. If you mailed in your ballot, we're sending you a new one. Love you. And, like, if you close the school, then parents can't cast votes, though. Most schools are closed on election day. I'd have early voting. Like, literally, I'd be like, you can early vote 24/7. They'll always be staffed. That's how you'd have to do it. Oh, my God, how ironic. Look, it's my voting sticker. Our first mistake was relying on chats. In Mexico, the election ballots are in full color and have the candidates' photos. We should have photos off of school. A lot of schools are closed on election day. That's not that weird. Because in a lot of areas, they do the elections at school. Like, they use the schools as the voting sites. We have a teacher planning day. Yeah, that's how I usually had it, too. And then they would, like, let you leave during the planning day to go vote if you wanted to. I've never been off in Illinois. Exactly. Yeah, I think it depends on the place. Okay, but anyway, let's focus on the Brooks Brothers Barrage. I can't say it. There's a couple words I just can't say, and this is one of them. To oppose the recount of the ballots in the Florida recount. So the official canvassers, to speed up the process and meet their deadline, moved the counting to a new room, and members of the media were restricted to a distance of 25 feet away. So basically, because they needed to recount this and it needed to be, like, organized, they were like, we need to sit here, be organized, and you guys can stand over there. But the Republicans freaked out because they were like, why don't they want cameras in there? They're trying to commit fraud. They're trying to do something. Yada, 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 whatever. Also, there's not a ton of footage of this event because the media was not there in mass. So, Republicans objected to this change of plans. John Sweeney of New York, nicknamed Congressman Kickass, set the incident in motion by telling an aide to stop them and shut it down. The demonstration turned violent. According to the New York Times, several people were trampled, punched, or kicked when protesters tried to rush the doors outside the Miami-Dade Supervisor of Elections. Sheriff deputies restored order. Democratic National Committee aide Louis Rosero claimed to be kicked and punched outside of Leahy's office. Within 2 hours after the event, the canvassing board unanimously voted to shut down the count. So the board said, okay, y'all win, we'll stop counting. 1, 2, 3, what comes after that? Like, I don't know. What the fuck? Like, they were like, we're good. Did you say Congressman Kickass? Yes. So John E. Sweeney, President Bush, gave him the nickname Congressman Kickass because of this event. Because he kind of coordinated this little riot rendezvous. It's like a mini January 6th. That's how he got that nickname from Mr. Bush. Suddenly, I don't know what a ballot is, you guys. No recount here. Also, there was a guy who was like a part of like, he was like a Democratic lawyer. Like, he was a lawyer for the Democrats. And he was at the Board of Elections and he wanted a sample ballot. So he asked, like, he was like, hey, I need a sample ballot, which, like, you can ask for a sample ballot. And he was leaving with the ballot that literally said, sample ballot for training purposes only. Big ass across it. Like, so obvious it's not a real ballot. And someone in this riot was like, he's stealing a ballot. And they thought that Democrats were like throwing away Bush ballots and like making uncertain ones just count for Gore. Like, they thought it was like a whole conspiracy. Florida's new Secretary of State is an insurrectionist BTW. Awesome. Perfect. Love that. Love it. Awesome. Okay, where was I? So yeah, they decided to not do the recount in part due to perceptions that the process was not open or fair, and in part because the court-mandated deadline had become impossible to meet due to interference. But in the movie that I watched, people that worked there and were involved were like, it was an extremely realistic deadline. Like, we had the staff for it. Like, we could have done it. But imagine how scary it would be to have all these people, like, actually... Let's look at the pictures and then you'll see how scary it is. But election officials constantly being told to stop and do recounts by hand. Because literally, remember, they're like, okay, it's over. Okay, we're going to do a recount. Get counting. Okay, they attacked us. We're going to stop doing a recount. Like, pick a side. Pick a lane. Pick a side. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I would have been sweating if I had to recount. I never want to be involved with this. This seems very stressful. Imagine how terrifying it would be to be like in your little elections office job. Like, keep in mind, back then, like now we think of that as like a terrifying job to be in because of everything we've seen. But back then it wasn't so much that way. It was just kind of like a city, like, or no, not a city, like a government job that people had. Imagine being at your government job and then seeing this just like coming for you. Also, this is, so let me show you Gore Lieberman. So Gore had this guy, his last name was Lieberman, as his like running mate, and this was their little campaign poster, like symbol thing, Gore Lieberman. So the Republicans made this, sore loser man, which is like, I'm sorry, it's objectively hilarious. Like, that's so funny. I'm sorry. Love the pink chrome theme. You're welcome. Thank you. Or I mean, thank you. You're welcome. Someone else said something. Anyway, this is terrifying. Please look at this man. So here is who these people are. These are not even Miami natives. And by Miami natives, I mean like people that are registered to vote in Miami. So I guess Miami voters is the term I should be using. But anyway, because like, is she giving Miami to you? Is she giving Miami? To me, she's not giving Miami. No one here is giving Miami. Like, does this seersucker shirt scream Miami? It does not to me. Not a healthy hairline in sight. They're giving Coral Gable. She's giving Indiana doctor, receptionist. It's giving Ohio. Okay, so let's look at these people. Number 1, this guy right here. Tom Pyle, Office of Majority Whip Tom DeLay. 2, right here. Gary Malfus, Majority Chief Counsel. 3, back here. Rory Cooper, National GOP. Kevin Smith, former House GOP. Steve Brody, former aide to a Republican in Tennessee senator. Matt Schlapp, Bush campaign staff, aide to another Republican senator, aide to Chairman Don Young, Republican in Alaska, South Carolina, Iowa. They're giving Yeehaw Junction. It's giving Pinellas County. This is what I mean. Like, these people are not voters of this election. They're protesting votes being counted in an election that they did not vote in. They might have voted in another state, but did not vote in this election, and they're protesting it. So, More on the Brooks Brothers riot. Sweeney, Congressman Kickass, defended his actions, arguing that his aim was not to stop the hand recount, but to restore the process to public view. But he said, I didn't want to stop it. I would never do that. But where was that quote from him? Stop them and shut it down. I thought, that's kind of conflicting what you said. You said stop them and shut it down. And then now you're saying, like, that you weren't doing that. You know? Wait, where'd I go? Where was I? That he was not trying to stop the recount. Like, it's giving confliction to me. Sydney Sweeney. We're on slide 38 of 58. Elliot Spade. Let me see if anyone's followed me. ehammer0761, thanks for following. We love, we appreciate. Okay, so anyway, other Bush supporters acknowledged they hoped to end the recount. We were trying to stop the recount. Bush had already won, said Avelio Cepero? I don't know. A reporter for an influential Spanish talk show in Miami. So, context, there was like really, really right-wing Spanish talk radio in Miami. There still is. Like, that was a big thing. Like, we aren't going to get into all of it, but, like, it's a huge thing. Like, it's a very, very, very big thing. And kind of, like, was, like, the OG, like, right-wing pipeline for boomers, in my opinion. So that's, like, a thing you have to keep in mind. Like, people have been listening to super right-wing radio about this, so it's giving, like, Alex Jones type of vibe, where it's like, this is what's happening in your election, but, like, in Spanish. I just don't speak Spanish. We were urging people to come downtown and support and protest this injustice, a Republican lawyer commented. People were pounding on the doors, but they had the absolute right to get in. You literally don't. Like, you literally don't have the right to just pull up to the election office and fucking walk in the middle of a recount. You don't work there. You're not a resident of the county. Like, what do you mean we have a right? You literally don't. Like, that's literally not a right that's written down anywhere or agreed upon by any group of people. That's just not a right. Babe, nothing in the Constitution lets you do that. Like, exactly. Like, where is that in the Constitution that it says you can start banging on the glass doors at the election workers in the Miami-Dade County election office? I don't think it says that anywhere. Where was I? The protest interfered with the attendance by official observers and hindered access by members of the press. In a radio interview, Sweeney said, what I essentially told my people is you've got to stop them. I said, whatever, I really can't talk today. I'm sorry. You've got to stop them. Whether I said you've got to shut it down or stop them, frankly, I don't recall. So, like, he's just playing stupid. You know what you did, bitch. Several of the protesters were identified as Republican congressional staffers, and a number of the demonstrators later took jobs in the incoming Bush election. And again, after they did this, the Miami election people were like, we're actually so good. We are good on a recount. Like, you see me, I see you, we see each other, and we are good. That was really their, like, energy. They said, never mind, we're good. Spineless. Democrats are spineless. So I think it's very ironic that the Republicans are always the one that says the election is being stolen. How is recounting votes stealing an election? It's literally just not. They said we slayed that recount. Also, this is another very good meme. I told you the memes tonight were going to be better than usual. No, don't fall. Hitch181, thanks for subscribing. We love a subscription. So we've always just been like this. So that's the thing, is that I was watching the movie. It's an HBO movie. It's called 537. It's very good. And they were saying, like, Miami politics were a precursor for U.S. politics. Like, things that happen in U.S. politics, they happen in Miami first. Like, Miami's just kind of always on the jump with the insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just always on the, like, we're, like, always, like, 2 steps ahead when it comes to insanity. So, like, just always a little ahead of the curve in the insane stuff. Miami was like a pressure cooker. There was also, like, a lot of political tension in Miami because there was this kid. What was his name? Not Eli. Elian Gonzalez, who was like a Cuban refugee that came over, and then there was like a custody battle because his uncle in the U.S. was like, he should be here. His mom tried to send him here, and then they were like, no, his dad lives in Cuba and his dad wants him back, like this is technically kidnapping, and like people in Miami really wanted him to stay, and like whole thing. So it's like Miami was very politically tense at this time. This documentary 537 is really, really good. Insane in the membrane. Okay, so Republicans using the strategy of accusing Democrats of doing what the Republicans are planning on doing. Honestly, this is a really real strategy. Like, real, recognize real. The Republicans come to win. Like, they really, they're knocking around. Like, Roger Stone is a terrible fucking person, but what he said in this movie, like, really was true, where he was like, I care about winning elections. That's what I'm here to do. And he was like, we try and win it from multiple angles. We try and win it from the courts. We try and win it in public opinion. And we try and win it in the voter booth. We're here to win. And I was like, damn. I see why y'all keep beating Democrats, because Democrats just kind of show up, I feel like. This meme is perfect. I told y'all, I was really like, it was like synergizing in my brain. It's like accusing your partner of cheating and to deflect and hide if you're cheating. No, that's literally exactly what it is. And so the plot thickens. By late November, the Florida State Canvassing Board certified Bush as the winner by 537 votes, but other legal battles still remained. Eventually, the Florida Supreme Court decided to order a statewide manual recount of 45,000 undervotes. So those are the people that are not recorded as clearly expressing a presidential vote. And they had previously accepted, they accepted some of the previously unaccepted results from Miami-Dade and Palm Beach County, reducing Bush's lead to a mere 154 votes. So it gets even more complicated. Democrats be like, well, this book from 40 years ago says if we put signs on this block, we'll win. I say as a Dem organizer, that's terrifying and makes absolute sense. Republicans were the original gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss for evil. So the Bush campaign quickly filed an appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court, asking it to delay the recounts until it could hear the case. A stay was issued by the court on December 9th. A stay is an action to stop a legal proceedings or actions of a part. So they basically said, like, everyone sit on your fucking hands, chill out, and we're going to go to the U.S. Supreme Court about this. Like, it's going all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court about what we're going to do about this. Again, I personally think by this point we should have said we need to start over. I just DoorDashed my son's Happy Meal to my work. That sucks. A lot. I'm sorry. Oh, praying for you, bestie. That's tough. Okay, so now it's going to the U.S. Supreme Court. So Miami-Dade election employees finding out the court wants a recount again after a bunch of white men tried to attack them. Because imagine you're recounting because your county said you have to recount it. Okay. Because originally they said, no, we're good. No, they said, now you have to recount it. You said, okay, you're recounting it, and these terrible men attack you. And then they say, you're actually not going to recount it. Okay. And then the state court says, you're going to recount it. And then it goes to the Supreme Court, and they're like, actually sit on your hands again. We don't know if you're going to recount it. Like, horrifying. Leslie Knope would have had this figured out in a week. Imagine my disappointment when we opened the door and I emailed the night shift and said, enjoy dinner, but please give me the toy. At least someone's there to enjoy it, I guess. That sucks for you, though. So 3 days later, the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 that a fair statewide recount could not be performed in time to meet the December 18th deadline. So yeah, they have to certify it by December 18th, but like, so many people have said this is not true. So many people have said, like, if they wanted to do it, they could have fucking done it. They had the resources to do it. The Supreme Court issued a controversial 5-4 decision to reverse the Florida Supreme Court recount order, effectively awarding the presidency to Bush. So the Supreme Court said, you're done. You are done. You don't have to recount it. Bush won. So because the Supreme Court ruled that they didn't have to do the Florida recount, the presidency went to Bush. So Miss Supreme fumbled the bag. Oh, so the Supreme Court has always sucked. So by winning Florida, Bush narrowly won the Electoral College vote over Gore, only one more than required, says, sorry. So he won 271 in an Electoral College. It's required 270 to win. One Gore elector abstained. Someone apparently didn't want to do their thing. But yeah, I can't imagine election employees then being told to halt their recount again. Like, this is literally a joke. Like, it's literally a joke. Remember, like 30 minutes ago when I said, when this is really confusing and it doesn't make sense and it feels like everything is contradicting each other? Was I wrong? This is where I need the DJ board. Did I lie? Did I fucking lie? I didn't. It's very confusing. So Gore was completely out of legal options, conceded the election after he literally won the popular vote. Because he basically said, all right, the Supreme Court said no recount in Florida. Because, like, it's the Supreme Court. Like, what do you do? Like, as Al Gore, like, fucking whatever, man, I guess. Like, so the public servants making $12 an hour stuck in the middle of a national election controversy, having to recount and uncount ballots every day and missing Thanksgiving. Fuck your Thanksgiving. Bare knuckle box them. So my people be like, isn't the court supposed to be fair? If the Supreme Court ruled, that should be the rule. It's the Supreme Court. Rick Hansen wrote a book about this. He's a professor of law and political science. He said the court divided along ideological lines, with the conservatives backing Bush and the more conservative candidate, and the liberals backing Gore, the more liberal candidate. The case presented difficult questions about the court intervention in a process that both sides thought was infected with politics of the opposing sides. It's always the workers who get the short end of the stick. Yeah, it really is always the workers. So even the Supreme Court is not immune to politics. It was polarized and people kind of voted along their party lines. Shocker. Here is the popular votes. You can see Al Gore won a lot more popular votes. It was close, but he did win a lot more. Like, no recount needed. That's a lot of people. It's a pretty big difference. And me finding out that all of the dimpled chads have never been counted even to this day. To this day, in our Lord's year of 2022, they still have not counted the dimpled chads. I wonder if they still have them. Like, I wonder if they're, like, in, like, a storage closet somewhere. You know what I mean? I feel like they might be. The thumbs down. Bust them out, I'll count them. No, literally, like, at this point, I'll do it. Like, I'll literally count them myself. Mm-hmm. Like, let me in the closet. Let me in that little room, and I'll count them. They're underground with the chiefs. Bush has them on his wall as a trophy. 5 points docked from USA. Y'all are fucking funny. So I just find it very, very ironic that the U.S. preaches democracy while we literally let a group of unelected wizards, like, pick the president, and we didn't even count all the votes. I hope they declassify them down the line like FBI documents. They should. They should scan them all and then put them online, and then people get to vote on whether or not they think the dimpled Chad, like, should count. Like, they should be like, nah, that one's not far enough in. I think that one was just a mistake. Or like, yeah, that one's definitely, they thought they voted. Look, it's basically through. There's a hole. Look, the paper's, like, see-through. Watch as Gore would have actually won. I think that would have happened. It was so close because Bush won by 537 votes, and they did not count 10,000 dimpled chads. It could be, we have no idea. We have no clue. Like, we really just don't know. And we won't know. That's the most horrifying part. We'll probably never know. Ever, ever, ever. Here's those pictures of George Bush again. I don't think we need to look at them, but there's the one. And the dancing. This country is so ridiculous. No one. George W. Bush. They said flip a coin. Honestly, that would be like more democratic in my opinion. Less corrupt. Wow, how is the last 20 years would have been so different? I know, that's what's getting me. I think that might be my meme. Oh no, it's not. Me when I think about the Electoral College. If you've never felt anger like this, I don't trust you. Like, I wouldn't say I have anger issues, but, like, I definitely think I'd be getting angry. And this is how it feels. This is really how I feel. This is me, like, in the closet at work when my phone won't stop ringing. There's a picture of me right there. What if it wouldn't have changed anything? I guess we'll never know. We will never know. The U.S. today, if Al Gore had been elected in 2000 and set the precedent for an environmentally friendly future in the new millennium. Because it was the 2000 election. It was like, who are we going to be? It's the future. Like, who is the U.S. going to be? Like, what do we want? Like, they really set the tone for so much. This meme slays. Thank you. If the election is so close, they should just fight for the title. I know I was a tiny little being when this happened, but I can't even begin to comprehend the world we live in today if this had happened differently. When's the next AI coming along? We got through Y2K just to settle for Bush. They said the environment? No. How about profit? Sween24, phenomenal first time chat. Thank you for being here. Okay, so thoughts post-election. Andrew Bush, different Bush, professor of government, he said, I think independents were generally relieved that the partisan bickering was over. Overall, 80% of poll respondents said they accepted the results as legitimate. One result of the outcome, candidates learned not to concede too early. One of Gore's political problems through the 5 weeks is that he had conceded to Bush, then withdrew his concession, so he was widely seen as a bad loser. Ever since 2000, both parties have maintained a stable of attorneys prepared to swarm over the next Florida on a moment's notice. The 2000 election dispute also contributed to the growing polarization in American politics. Democrats saw Bush as a president who snuck in the good graces of the Supreme Court, and Republicans saw Gore and Democrats as people who would change the rules in the middle of a game just to hold on to power. But, like, I don't think the Democrats did change the rules in the middle of the game because the Republicans were in control of Florida when this happened, so the Republicans changed the rules in the middle of the game. Like, they really just try and gaslight us. They try and gaslight us and being like, oh, both sides are exactly the same. And, like, both sides suck, but they're not exactly the same. Like, that is definitely a fucking lie. I was gonna make a slide about, like, all the bad stuff that happened under Bush, like all the wars and death and the economy and, like, student loans and healthcare and, like, literally everything. But then I just didn't feel like doing that because it was just, like, really sad. So I just didn't want to. Because why go there? You know what I mean? I live in the largest city in my state, so we have recycling pickup. Oh, you have recycling pickup? I don't. I doubt it actually gets recycled. Yeah, a lot of times it doesn't. My nose is itchy. Okay, we're going to play the game. We have to pick which one we want. There's the link. And then here's the code. Okay, so this is a trivia game. You don't have to play the trivia game. You can just hang out while we play the trivia game if you want. But it's about what we learned. There's no prize other than just clout, I guess. But if you want to play and you type in your name, it will come up on here. So if you don't want to put your government name on the internet, put a fake name or like a joke or something clever. Don't forget Bushart. Ooh, let's do that while everyone's joining. George Bushart. I don't know what's going to come up. You know what I'm saying? George Bush is actually an artist. Some of it's good and some of it's not. But look, he's like actually kind of good. And now a lot of his paintings, he sells them and gives the money to veterans. So, not Putin. George Bush artwork. What are you doing here? So yeah, here's George Bush's art. There's one of a dog that I like. This is the one I'm thinking of. Look at him. This is George Bush. Apparently he wanted to be an artist, but his family was like, you're actually going to be president of the United States. So now he's president. Well, not now, but then he became president. Can he paint me like one of his French girls? Look, he paints nature, he paints dogs, he paints those creepy faces. He'd be doing art. He's an art boy. There are so many of you here now. He threw up while giving someone a painting. He's a joke. Like, he's literally a joke. He should have just skipped the president bit and been a painter. I think that's probably what he wanted. Like, not to turn him into a victim, but... Like, you could have just been a painter. But no, his family had to force him to be president. And then we had wars. Awesome. Wait, the dogs are cute, though. Yeah, right? Like, he could have just been a painter. Like, he could have just been one of those, like, rich dynasty kids that, like, goes to NYU and, like, complains about it on Twitter and then, like, just does art while their parents pay for, like, a stupid nice apartment for them. He should have been allowed to be a painter. This is all HW's fault, which is also Reagan's fault. Yeah, exactly. It's, like, basically just a whole entire mess. Let's go ahead and play the game, though. His dad was like, son, this is your dream. And he was like, no, Dad, this is your dream. He literally called Putin Pootie Poo. This man is not serious. That's what I mean. Like, I think he literally is just kidding. Like, I think he had no business being president. Like, that feels like our fault. Like, I don't think he really knew what was going on. Like, we should have never allowed that to happen. They should have just let him be rich and not disturb the world. Yeah, exactly. Like, that could have worked out for everybody. Okay, we're starting. Why isn't the sound working? There it is. What did we learn about today? Fool me once, can't get fooled again. War crimes, JK bestie. Except not always kidding. Twice, babe. Thanks for the follow. Throat hurts. Question number 2. Who was running against Bush? Sorry, I had my window too little. My contacts are like really fucked right now. George Bush threw up on someone. George H.W. Bush threw up and passed out on a president during his presidency. Oh my god, what? My boyfriend of 3 years dumped me and this stream made me feel better, thank you. That sucks really bad, and I'm sorry that your feelings are hurt, but if he dumped you, that shows that he's stupid and doesn't know how to hold on to valuable things. So you should, in the long run, you'll probably be happy. Like, I know in the short run, you probably feel like really terrible garbage. But in the long run, you should be happy because clearly he fumbles the bag. You know what I mean? Like, he can't hold on to a good thing. So he probably will, like, lose jobs, lose money, lose tons of stuff. So, like, that's going to be less stress on you. Like, that long term, this is great. Today's the first day of the rest of your life without that. Like, you don't have to worry about him anymore. This stream made me realize I thought Chris Christie was Al Gore the whole time. I feel like Bush would have been fun at parties before he messed up the economy for all of us. Apparently, he was quite the guy in college. I think he was fun at parties. Well, depends how you define fun. I think he was a nightmare at parties for a lot of women. Probably. You can't breathe. You can never breathe. Keep smiling. Keep shining. His wife killed someone in a car accident, I think. Why has, like, everyone who's been to the White House killed someone in a car accident? What is this? Literally, what is this? Where was the butterfly ballot? That was Palm Beach. Miami had the fucking dimples and the chads, but they didn't have the butterfly. That's the hardest question, sorry. Which was not a term that we talked about today. Because they never drive themselves around. That really feels like disproportionate, though, how many people in the White House hit someone with their car. Maybe what it is that they're just the only ones getting caught because everyone has eyes on them. Maybe other people are just doing hit and runs all the time. Maybe that's the case. Republicans were in favor of a recount. True or false? Yeah, homegirl ran a stop sign and committed vehicular manslaughter when she was in high school. Well, there it is. Question number 9. What was the name of the riot in the Miami election offices? Getaway car, Bush's version. Stop. Rest in peace to the victims. Rest in peace to victims. White boy summer. I guess it would be white boy fall because it was November. Who won the popular vote? I told you the game was easier this time. I still feel bad that I flexed super hard for some reason. Vineyard Vines Riot sounds terrifying. Yeah, it does. My head itches. Last question. Ding. Nice job. I like the Halloween themed one. Alrighty. We have Abby in first place, Jess Jadis, Domi, Cowboy McNuggets, KB, Jim, Jamie, MKG, Emmy, Ashley, Frosted, Querio, this is very funny, Kind, Gas Station Roller, Emily, Kate, and then I'll scroll through everybody else. Nice job, nice job, nice job. We love to see it. We love to hear it. Alrighty. I left up the little collaborate board so you can put your notes, your memes. If you want to share a meme that you made, go for it. Thank you all for being here. I really liked this stream. I think next week my plan is to do like the CIA involvement with the cocaine trade. What are we thinking? I'm deciding between that and the Dust Bowl. Would love to learn the term pull-out method, Chad. I made that up, so I don't think there's anything to learn. Can I put my tax return up there? I'm not going to stop you, but someone probably will steal your identity because your social security number's on it, but I'm not going to stop you from doing it. Actually, I'll delete it if it gets up here. I don't want to be involved with that from like a legal perspective. Oh my God. Me, a ballot counter being asked to recount Florida votes by a fourth time. Do the CIA one. But I'm thinking too. That's what Twitter said. Not the one for the client I was working on. But I'd never do that to get fired. Oh, I think I like missed something there. I think I missed some context there. This was my first Misredacted stream. I've watched you forever on TikTok. What did you think, Aiden Peters? Like, not to put the spotlight on you, but as someone who's come from TikTok, like, is this what you expected? Could I said something to have make you come earlier? What was it that you saw on TikTok that made you take the dive, that made you take the plunge? I would love to hear your insight and your perspective as I continue this endeavor. As I continue this this lovely journey called life. Here from TikTok too, honestly not disappointed at all. Can you do a stream about the creation of NSA and Homeland Security? I did one about Edward Snowden. Maybe I could do that. It was beautiful. It was not what I expected, but it was better. What did you expect? That's what I'm curious. Like, what vibe am I giving off, and how can I give off a more accurate vibe? I started watching a few weeks ago from TikTok, and I love it. Thank you. Do you believe in ghosts, and have you ever seen one? I believe in them. I've never seen one, like, in the physical sense, but I have experienced them. And I've experienced what they are doing. What is that? I don't know what that little symbol is. It's like if history class was fun and chill. Good. You are literally the reason I made a Twitch account. Stokely, thank you. Oh, it's me. Queen Elizabeth looks bad here. Thank you. Yes. This is when he got the shoe thrown at him. Here from TikTok, I saw your promo from the corn stream, and I've been hooked. Slay. Also, first-time streamer, it was fine. I was finally awake for it. What a great, fun history chat. Makes me excited to learn, even if it's wild. How could we forget the shoe throwing? Never forget! The Dixie Chicks were right. Misrestricted avoiding talking about bad things Bush caused. Wait, this makes me seem like I'm like a Bush lover. I just... a Bush lover. That was funny. That was very funny. In hindsight, we should have had people throw shoes at Bush. Oh, good. I wonder, I really think about this. I know I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. I wonder what the Nearpod people think. Like, because I know that they can, like, impersonate your account and, like, check on shit for you. But, like, what do they think that this is? Like, what do they think? Like, do they look at this and they're like, we need to report her to her district. What's going on here? I don't know. These are the things that keep me up at night. Oh my God! Speaking of things that keep me up at night, guess what's going on with Chili's? So you know how I made that video and I was like, Chili's needs to like keep it real and Chili's needs to stop playing with me because they'll be in my comments, they'll tag me and shit, they fucking talk to Quarter Life Crisis about me, all that shit. They finally followed me and I messaged them and they didn't fucking reply. Look. They followed me and did the wave. And I said, good morning, Chili's. Thanks for the follow. And they didn't reply. Did they send you flowers yet? No. And I don't know what I've gotten from the History Channel either. I really don't. Oh my God, Fraz, thanks for the promo vid. Hopefully this will drive people. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm feeling so much love in the air tonight, you guys. Chili's is really playing games with you. They are, and I bought it yesterday. Like, I literally ordered it yesterday. If someone from Chili's is here, what the fuck is up? I just like you, and I think people should know. Thank you. I like you too. Okay, this was super fun. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I also feel God in this Chili's tonight. Oh, wait. They should make strippers count the votes. They'd get that done in a good half hour. They're the only ones we can rely on. Agree. Here from Fraz. Oh my gosh, hi. So if you're here from Fraz, we are wrapping up for the evening, but we do this every single Wednesday. We do this literally every single Wednesday. We do class on Twitch. What are some things that we've talked about? Everyone talk about whatever your favorite stream was. We talked about how the government pays for like billions of dollars worth of milk and corn. We've talked about the Black Panther Party, the Vietnam War. We've talked about, why am I forgetting everything we've ever talked about? The war on drugs. We've talked about like redlining and housing, all the things. Woodstock, both Woodstock. The cheese caves, Monica Lewinsky, the anthrax attacks. The anthrax attack stream was hilarious. The Dust Bowl. We're going to do a new Dust Bowl one because we did like Great Depression and Dust Bowl. We're going to do both. MK Ultra. We talked about MK Ultra. So I'm signing off for the night. Thank you for being here. Thank you for living with us. Thank you for laughing with us. Thank you for loving with us. I'll see you here on Wednesday, but I have terrible news to tell you, actually. So we'll be here Wednesday. We're going to do like CIA involved with the cocaine trade on Wednesday. But the following week, October 26th, I will not be streaming because I have to go on a business trip. Isn't that like, who am I? Literally, who am I that I have to go on a business trip? But I'm actually really excited. It's a very cool opportunity and I'm very honored that they picked me to go and whatever. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. See you on Wednesday. Listen to Fraz and I's podcast. Thank you. Night nights. Sleep tight. Love you. Make good choices.